What, are you police or security?
Police.
Oh, yeah.
Not many security guards carry guns, do they? Under Section 43 of the Terrorism Act, then I am going to stop and search you, given the fact of the position that we...
Polite camera action is recording outside a warehouse when armed officers show up and quickly invoke Section 43, treating the mere presence of a camera as though it automatically triggers terrorism legislation. There's no specific intelligence shared, no clear reasoning offered, just an immediate escalation. Rather than submitting without question, he remains composed, asks them to clarify their grounds, and highlights the improper use of the power. Within minutes, the armed presence loses momentum, and the officers leave empty-handed. Exactly how the situation should have concluded from the beginning.
How you doing?
Not bad, you?
Yeah, right, not bad.
I think you probably know why we're looking to stop you, don't you?
What, are you police or security?
Police.
Oh, yeah.
Not many security guards carry guns, do they? You're perfectly at liberty to say no, because I expect you know the law quite well. Do you have any idea on you at all?
No, I don't, mate.
Would you like to account for your actions in the area?
Not really, no, just taking photographs, that's it.
Okay. Under Section 43 of the Terrorism Act, then I am going to stop and search you, given the fact of the position that we find you in, the buildings you have been taking pictures of, and the fact you've admitted to taking photos of
Yeah,
those
but this
buildings.
is a public
You
road,
haven't
though.
offered me any reason why. It's Section 43 of the Terrorism Act.
As I just said, I'm taking photographs, mate.
Yeah. What buildings were you taking them off?
I'm not taking them anything, really. I'm just taking whatever I feel like. I'm totally entitled to take photographs.
You are.
Yeah, so what are you saying
but also
then?
under Section 43 of the Terrorism Act, I'm entitled to stop and search and stop and speak to anybody that I believe may be undertaking reconnaissance, hostile reconnaissance, or anything related to terrorism. And
so
also
when
hang on, sorry,
okay,
because I haven't been impolite and interrupted you.
No, but I just don't like the idea of being searched for no reason when all I'm doing is walking around with a camera.
I'm giving you a reason.
The jump from someone is taking photos to invoking Section 43 is carrying the entire argument, and it simply doesn't stand up. Officers arrive and immediately rely on terrorism legislation, even though photography by itself isn't a lawful trigger for that power. Section 43 is intended for situations involving suspected evidence of terrorism, not to address harmless curiosity or routine documentation. Polite camera action keeps the focus on the fundamentals. He's on a public road, lawfully present, not filming restricted areas, not hiding his identity or actions. A report from a third party doesn't automatically create reasonable grounds, and a camera doesn't transform into hostile surveillance just because armed officers appear. Once those core facts are acknowledged, the legal basis for using that power falls apart.
Yeah, but I've given you a reason why I'm in the area.
The fact you're not willing to listen to it, that is somewhat arbitrary.
Yeah, but I've just told you why I'm in the area.
Okay.
I'm a photographer.
But if that's the case...
I've got a YouTube channel, I take YouTube videos.
If that's the case, then you're perfectly at liberty to give me a name and details, aren't you?
No, why should I?
Okay.
It's a free country.
I know it is.
We're not living in China, are we, where you've got no rights to do anything? This is the UK, isn't it, where you've got rights to do what you want. So,
which is also...
And I'm entitled to walk around with my camera and take videos for YouTube and stuff like that.
The reports of people are telling me...
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah, just good.
TE06,
yeah,
QP.
QP.
He's got his on as well.
Thank you very much.
So, like I said, Section 43 of the Terrorism Act gives me the power to stop and search you and obtain any details from you that you're willing to give to me.
Well, I'm not really...
Okay, if that's the case then, I am also at liberty to look at the memory cards, SD cards and anything on those cameras.
Don't be silly, no you're not.
No, I am.
No, you're not.
I am.
A court of law is the only person who's allowed to look at that.
Tell you what then, you put your camera down, get your phone out and Google it.
This is the moment where authority seems to be created in real time. When asking for his details doesn't get the desired result, the officer shifts to a more aggressive claim, stating he's entitled to search through the footage, memory, and SD cards. That's not how the law operates. A detention doesn't automatically grant police the right to browse through someone's digital data. There's a reason devices are formally seized and warrants or proper authority are sought afterward. Reviewing digital content on the roadside without clear legal grounds crosses a defined boundary. Polite camera action stays focused on that distinction. A court can later examine material if it's lawfully obtained and genuinely relevant to an investigation. That doesn't translate into an officer having on-the-spot access simply because they demand it. Judicial oversight doesn't retroactively create authority that wasn't there to begin with.
It says I'm allowed to look at them to see what you've been doing. Because if it is a case of what you have been looking at is hostile reconnaissance in relation to terrorism...
Hostile reconnaissance to what?
Because you've been taking pictures of a building that is of a sensitive nature.
Well, that logistics building. I'm doing absolutely no wrong, am I, with walking around with a camera?
Doing wrong?
Well, so why are you searching me then?
At what point have I said you're doing wrong, though?
So why would you search me?
Right, at what point have I said you're doing wrong?
You haven't, but why would you search me if I'm not doing anything wrong?
I've just told you under the Terrorism Act, Section 43.
Yeah, but then that means you suspect me of being a terrorist.
It's a suspicion, exactly.
What, you think I'm a terrorist?
It's not an accusation, is it?
You suspect I'm a terrorist? Why don't you go and speak to them first,
Okay,
so they kept stopping me?
Here we go. Let's chuck a controversial one in here. You're telling me you've spoken to them. When's the last time you think somebody lied to me as a police officer?
Probably all the time. I'm not a liar,
There we go. But I don't know that, do I?
I've told you what I'm doing. I'm totally entitled to walk around with a camera and film stuff. You know I am, so I don't know what you're going on about. You don't think I'm a terrorist. You know I'm not a terrorist.
I didn't say I didn't think you're a terrorist.
But why are you stopping me on the terrorism?
My suspicion is...
The officer ends up cornering himself. He openly acknowledges that polite camera action hasn't committed any wrongdoing. The immediate response cuts straight to the issue. Then what's the legal basis for the search? There's no easy way to reconcile that. Once it's admitted that no offense has occurred and no clear grounds exist, the justification for searching disappears. Attempting to salvage it with claims that people lie to police all the time only deepens the problem. Mere disbelief isn't lawful grounds for a search, it's simply a reason to dismiss what someone is saying. If suspicion continues even after acknowledging no wrongdoing, then honesty becomes irrelevant and police powers become limitless. Polite camera action doesn't need to escalate the argument. The reasoning unravels by itself. You can't concede someone's innocence and still defend intrusive action. That's not measured caution, it's an undisciplined exercise of authority.
Suspicion is not a statement of fact.
So then you've got to have a proper reason for stopping me, other than you just seeing me walking around. Of what? Because I'm walking around with a camera. Well, you better make sure you got this right, mate, because there's going to be a lot of trouble otherwise.
Okay, so why do we now have to resort to threats?
No, I'm not threatening you, am I? I'm just saying I'm not physical trouble. I'm just talking.
Why do we have to resort to a threat?
Because I'm going to go to a police station. I'm going to make a massive complaint. That's what I'm saying.
Is completely engage with you in a polite and courteous manner.
Yeah, but you're
at no point have I been rude.
Yeah, are you able to show us some of your footage then of what you've taken?
I don't actually have to, do I? I'm totally entitled to walk around this country with a camera. You all know I am, and it's just you're trying to intimidate me by using terrorism act and stuff like that.
Not trying to intimidate.
No, it's a normal police tactic. Throw big words around and scare people with big words. I'm sorry, I'm just messing my phone. I'm not getting in.
We have to attend every incident. This has come on to us as a 999 call over a secure site. We have a duty to investigate that and to make sure that.
Well, for a logistics firm, I'm not very happy about. I've got nothing on me, but I'm not happy about being searched just because it's infringement on my liberties, and I've done nothing wrong.
This is the point where accountability gets reframed as intimidation. When polite camera action tells the officer he needs to ensure he's acting within the law or it could come back on him, that's not a threat, it's a reminder that actions have consequences through formal complaint channels. Reinterpreting "I'll file a complaint" as "you're threatening me" is a convenient way to deflect scrutiny and avoid justifying the conduct in real time. Labeling the logistics warehouse a secure site doesn't fix the issue either. Security on private property is meant to regulate who enters that property, not to control lawful activity taking place on a public road outside it. Polite camera action isn't trespassing, obstructing operations, or bypassing safeguards. He's observing from a place he's legally entitled to be. Once that boundary is clearly defined, the foundation for the officer's argument falls away, because nothing he's doing actually crosses it.
We have to find out now what interactions you've had with security.
Yeah.
If you've gone past into any secure areas.
No,
and
definitely
exactly
not,
what's happened with the drone, all right?
The terrorists would come around at night or just film it on their dash cam, wouldn't they? Or they'd go.
It would be.
Do you know what I mean? Though it's like surely
you cannot predict
the
actions of a terrorist.
Yeah, but this is over. That would be covert surveillance. So surely a terrorist would use covert surveillance. They wouldn't stand out here in the broad daylight with a massive camera on a tripod, would they? They'd go and stand at the back and fly the drone. They wouldn't fly it on the middle of the road, would they? I stood there, right in the middle of all the cameras. Oh, mate.
We shouldn't try and predict the acts of a terrorist incident, should we really?
No, I know, but like
you can see it's like got security, it's got barbed wire, which what would that indicate?
Yeah, but I'm not. But there's no rules being broken on, or laws being broken by flying my drone over that building.
We're not talking about laws at the moment. All I'm talking.
Aren't we? I thought we were. No, these guys are talking about searching me under the terrorism.
I'm having a conversation with you.
Okay.
Polite camera action makes a straightforward point they struggle to rebut. Genuine reconnaissance isn't carried out in broad daylight, in plain view, with a camera and a drone launched from a public road. By nature, terrorist surveillance is covert. What he's doing is the complete opposite: open, visible, recorded, and clearly explained. By continuing to push the suspicion anyway, the officers end up contradicting basic logic, suggesting that openness itself is somehow suspicious. When another officer arrives, the reasoning only stretches further. Barbed wire and on-site security are suddenly cited as grounds to prevent filming, even though those measures are designed to secure private property, not to limit what can be seen from a public space. Then, under pressure, an officer finally says it outright: "This isn't about laws." That statement speaks volumes. If the law isn't the foundation, then what's happening isn't true enforcement, it's personal preference being treated as authority.
But it's a secure building with barbed wire around it, and they've got two secure. I'm never getting in there, am I? It's very secure. So
no,
do
but
you know what I mean?
One would
It's
argue
like,
that if it's secure, there's things in there that they might not want anybody to see.
Because you're an auditor, aren't you?
I'm not actually. I'm not. Nah, you see, this is that people often confuse the two. An auditor is someone who goes out and looks for problems on the sites, don't they, like site security and stuff like that. I'm actually just a YouTuber that just speeds footage up.
Okay,
come back
It's just slightly different. I carry this because I get stopped a lot, you know. I do. I speak to them. I've been back to the Royal Mail site, and if they come out, at least I've got the security come and attack me. I'm like them guys.
What's your first name? Sorry.
I'm not a friend, you know, whatever, I suppose.
Look, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, have a nice day, guys. Thank you very much. Cheers.
This episode doesn't end with a dramatic clash. It ends with the gradual unraveling of the officer's own stance. Polite camera action calmly repeats that he isn't seeking conflict and isn't breaking any laws, and nothing shown contradicts that. The more composed he remains, the more difficult it becomes for the officers to justify the stop. Their suspicions never materialize into anything concrete, and that disconnect only grows. What really stands out is how much time is spent going in circles over nothing. No specific offense is identified. No clear boundary is established. No lawful order is properly issued. Instead, everything leans on suggestion, references to security, sensitivity, unease, broad notions that never translate into an actual legal power. And that's how it concludes. Not with enforcement, but with withdrawal. After all the talk of terrorism and heightened security, they leave having accomplished nothing. No search. No seizure. No charge. Just pressure, implication, and no real authority behind it. Once their position is challenged, the perceived power fades, and all that remains is the quiet walk back to the van. If you found this breakdown insightful, be sure to like the video, share it, and subscribe to support the channel and keep this kind of accountability in the spotlight.